Oh, look at that.
That is beautiful.
Have you always wanted to make an artisan-style, super fluffy bread with no kneading? Well, I got the recipe for you. I've been making bread for a long time, and this is a super easy recipe. And lately, I've been making more bread, so I figured I'd share this with you. Oh, by the way, I'm not going to be giving any volumes here. I'm going to be giving weight measurements because you should have one of these. It's a digital scale. I checked. This exact one on Amazon is $8.39. Do yourself a favor. Buy a scale. It'll make life so much easier, especially for baking, and you want to be a little bit more precise.
But don't violently put stuff on your scale.
Yeah, don't bang it around. I mean, I have 4 of these just in case I break one. I'm joking, I only have 1. Okay, so 300 grams of bread flour. I'm using King Arthur because I like it and I'm used to it. Now, if you use a different brand, you may have to make some adjustments to your cooking times, just so you're aware. So 300 grams. Right? Is that what I wrote down?
That's what you wrote down.
I always do this by measuring, but I never write it down. And then?
Salt, 5 grams.
Yeah, if you want to use less salt, you can. Salt is a yeast inhibitor, and it actually adds a significant amount of flavor to bread. And to me, it's just almost a necessity. It's one of the few things that I still cook with salt, just saying. Next.
Yeast, 3 grams.
Yeah, I usually just go with like a teaspoon or so, but 3 grams would be the appropriate amount. Yep, something like that. Even 4 grams would be good. The next step, give this a gentle mix. I mean, it doesn't have to be that gentle. Just don't like blow flour all over the place. Before anybody asks, the old idea of salt and yeast touching in the bread doesn't really matter. I used to believe that, but it doesn't matter. I just throw them all in together.
Another thing that we probably didn't stress enough that we need to is that we are using bread flour. So besides a different brand, a different type of flour is going to change this drastically.
Bread flour has a higher protein content, which means more gluten formation, which means this bread can really puff up and hold that stretch. If you try to use all-purpose flour, it'll work, but you're much less likely to get a nice high rise and have it hold together.
And the reason why I'm stressing that at this point is because of what we're adding next. And that's 320 grams of water. That's right, we have more water than flour in this recipe.
Right. Yep, but the water evaporates out. However, here's why I like to do this. First, the King Arthur bread flour can handle that much hydration. This is over 100% hydration if you're familiar with baker's math at all. A lot of breads are like 60 and 70, like pizza dough is typically 70%. I've been experimenting with this and I'm finding that when I go just a little over 100, like this one is like 108 or something like that. Wow, what a huge difference. It comes out so much better. All right, 320 grams of water. And this is one of those times that I'm not gonna hold back. I'm gonna put it all in.
You do have to go a little bit slowly when pouring so that your scale can keep up.
Okay, but now I'm done with the scale. And yes, I keep it right there next to the stove. That way I have it handy to use all the time. All right, when you're starting mixing, it's gonna be really sloppy, really loose. Don't freak out. What you wanna do is just mix it all together. Make sure you get all the dry in there. See, look at that, all that dry. I might be able to add more water to this one. I don't think I'm going to, but I could. I like to use these plastic buckets for a couple of reasons. First, it contains it. Second, it has a nice tight fitting lid, so that way I don't get drafts and things like that when I'm trying to make the rise. And third, I can just mix and do everything right in here. I really don't use other dishes or anything for making bread. It makes it much more convenient than some ways of doing things. This is one of those times that putting your hands in here right now is not recommended because it's just gonna stick to you like crazy. And I know I said it's a no-knead bread, but you know what? It also doesn't take all day to make. It's not that kind of no-knead bread. Looks like I have all the dry taken up into the dough. So now I just wanna kind of get it together into one mass on the side, scrape down the sides, get it all in there. And there's a lot on the spoonula. So I just scrape that out. I mean, you paid for all this flour and mixture and stuff. It should be in your bread. That's like a whole other bite of bread right there. I didn't make it to make one bite less. I made it to make the whole recipe. Once you get to this point, you probably don't need the spoonula anymore. So wash that thing off because otherwise it gets all crusty and nasty. I'm just gonna put the lid on loosely because in 10 minutes, I have to do something to this. So we'll see you in 10 minutes. Okay, so it's been 10 minutes. Take off the lid. Dip your hand in some cool water. It feels nice, but that's not why. It's so that it doesn't stick to you. And what we're gonna do is called stretch and fold. I go in and lift it up as much as I can, like scoop it and then lift and slap it on top of itself. Wet your hand again, and here's what I do. I get in and I scoop it up, lift it, and drop it. Turn 90 degrees, scoop, lift, drop. If there's anything stuck to the sides, make sure you get it. And then 90 degrees again, scoop, lift, and drop. And you can already see it's starting to come together better than it was. The first stretch and fold is always a little rough. But now I have goop on my hands. I don't want to lose that. That's another bite of bread. And we wait 10 minutes and we do it again. All right, 10 more minutes has gone by. Time for another set of stretch and folds. This time should be a little bit easier. It holds together just a little bit better. In there and do it. 90 degrees, pull up, drop. 90 degrees, pull up, drop. The whole thing's starting to come out with it. But see, I didn't wet my hand that time. Gotta wet your hand. Yes, it adds even more water, more hydration to the dough. Don't worry, later on there'll be a little bit of flour added too. Did you see what just happened? It broke. You kind of want to avoid that, but even if it happens, it's not the end of the world. I just give it a couple more if that happens. But see how that's holding together? It looked like a soupy mess about 20 minutes ago. Again, scrape off your hands. You know, we'll see in 10 more minutes. Stretch and fold number 3. In case you're wondering, we do 4. Just because it's a nice, easy number to do. Oh, this time it's coming together nice.
Now, I never make the bread. Brian always makes the bread because Brian makes really good bread. So what's the point of me making bread when he's already doing such a great job about it? But I know there's some things that you're going to ask about. Does it have to be exactly 10 minutes between each stretch and fold?
No. I wouldn't go less than 10 minutes, but I've gone 15, 20 minutes. I used to do half an hour between them. If you have all day, half an hour, it's not going to necessarily be better, but it does condition the dough a little differently. You start to let it rise and then you're backing it down again. I find 10 minutes to be about the minimum, and it doesn't make that much difference really.
Sure. So if you're home and you have other stuff to do, just get to the next step, stretch and fold when you have the opportunity.
Yeah, don't stress over it. Don't stress over the stretch and folds. All right, 10 more minutes. See you. Time for stretch and fold number 4.
This is the final stretch and fold, as long as it's the final stretch and fold.
Yeah, you could do more if you really want to, but I find that 4 is usually sufficient. Sometimes I get away with less. On higher hydration doughs like this, I like to do 4. I don't really see any reason to do more, but I will not do less than that on this kind of a dough.
But before Brian finishes, let's give you a closer look so you can see the difference.
Okay. All right, so as you can see, it is much smoother and elastic. Look at that. It'll hold on to itself. It will not fall apart so easily. That is exactly how we want it. If it's still falling apart at this point, do 1 or 2 more stretch and folds and you should be fine. But now, put the lid on, set it to the side. Wait 1 full hour. Gotta let that dough rise. Okay, so it's been an hour and our bread has risen. I normally like to see it rise a little bit more than that, but you know what? I'll deal with it because it's okay.
If you have more time, give it more time.
Yeah, I wouldn't go too much more, like maybe 15 minutes or so. What I think it is I put the AC a little cooler because I knew we were gonna be filming in here today, so it wasn't as warm as it normally is. It does make a big difference. Now, somebody's gonna ask what temperature we keep our house at. Normally about 75 Fahrenheit, that is.
If you have one of those fancy ovens that have the proofing drawer, this probably won't fit in it.
On your immaculately clean cutting board, it is clean, we cleaned it, put some more flour out. And now, this is oh wait, before you do this, set your oven to 450 degrees Fahrenheit. I'll put the Celsius right here. Then, here's the biggest trick, watch this. Just wait, it's gonna happen, it's coming. It works every time.
Except for that one.
Except when I say this all the time. When you have a camera going, all the rules of the universe break.
Yeah. Normally, it comes out completely clean from that.
I like to use a plastic dough scraper, and what I'm doing is just working all around it. Just trying to basically make sure it's not stuck to my board. That's essentially what I'm doing.
Yeah, so the trick here is you want the loose flour to be on the outside where the surface is coming into contact with other surfaces, but not on the inside where it'll create that layer of
the raw dough in the middle. Yeah, you don't want that. Okay, so I have it more or less ready to go. before you shape, get a baking tray and either parchment or one of these silicone baking mats. I love the silicone baking mat for this because it just does the job.
Links to that and all the other things that we've been using today will be in the description below for your convenience.
By the way, we're Amazon affiliates. We do get a small commission if you purchase any of those things at no additional cost to you. To shape, I'm going simple this time. We're not gonna make anything complicated, but I wanna just make sure it's separated. Grab one side like this. I'm gonna flip it over. Oh, see, it's stuck a little bit to the board. That's okay, don't freak out.
That's why you got a dough scraper, for scraping dough.
Exactly, that's what they're for. They don't call it that for nothing. And I'm gonna try to flip it one more time. Ooh, it's sticking really bad. But that's good because I can show you all the things to do when it sticks. See, it's just sticking everywhere.
Normally, Brian will be cursing under his breath, but for your benefit, he will not.
Yeah, because we're trying to keep this a G-rated show. If that does happen, don't freak out. Just be patient. Oh, see that little piece? I gotta get that in. That's a bite of bread that you wouldn't have. Just be patient with it. If it starts to stick a little, I'm just gonna shape it again. Roll it over onto itself. Now, I can do all sorts of things at this point. I can make this long and thin. I can make it short and fat. I can get more flour out. So if you could open that flour. Need more flour.
Just a subtle hint for me to...
Yeah, just a little, not like a quarter cup or so, a few tablespoons. Plenty. Okay. It was a little bit too wet coming out, so that's why I got a little extra flour. I just want to kind of shape it. You can also pull these corners in like this, like these ends, to make it wider, right? And then I'll just press this out and roll it again. The idea is you're trying to make a log shape.
We're doing good on that and you're sticking on this one.
I got it. I got it. It's all good. Yeah. Okay. And just tuck it under, tuck it under, tuck it under. But I'm trying not to knock out all the air. Some people like to knock down their doughs and stuff. I don't really like to do that. Not for these kind of breads. I really want all that air that's in there to stay as much as possible. And I just constantly am working it around on the board. Right now, what I'm trying to do is loosen it completely so I can move it. And see how I can just lift it up and move it? Okay, here's how you do this. One quick motion. Put fingers under this side, scraper on the other side, scoop it up, drop it on your board. Just like that. Ta-da. It takes a little practice, but it's worth it. Now what I want to do is create some tension. Not the cursing kind, the tension in the dough itself. That way I get a little skin on the outside.
So explain what you're doing to cause this tension.
I will in a second. I need a little bit more flour. Right. And I just stick my hand in there. I know, I got dull in my hands and stuff. It's okay. I'm gonna sprinkle just a tiny bit on the top of this because otherwise it's too sticky to work with. And some of that gets down the sides and that's good. When I say tension, what I mean is I'm pushing underneath that dough and causing it to stretch just a little bit and form. Without that tension, it could just kind of flomp out. It'll just like spread out in the pan. We want it to rise up. So by giving it tension, and I need more flour, see? When you just know when you need more flour. Sprinkle it down the sides. Adding the flour makes it less sticky, which means it's gonna create that skin to help the pressure stay, forming tension as it starts to rise.
So you're using the dough scraper to tuck in the bottom edges so that way you create tension along the top surface.
Yes, exactly.
Cool.
She said it much better than I could. If you get some like dough stuck to your scraper, at this point, I hate to say it, but you gotta waste those few grains. You want your scraper to not be sticky because if it's sticky, you're not gonna be able to slide it in and out like I need to. Now, you don't wanna over tension, you wanna do just enough until you feel like, okay, yeah, any more than this is probably gonna be too much. And this right now has a pretty nice shape. It's not perfect. Homemade dough does not have to be perfect. That's a Brianism right there. This does not have to be perfect. But what'll happen is, now I'm gonna let this sit for about half an hour and it's gonna have its second rise. But you wanna cover it with the thinnest towel you own. We have like 3 of these.
Ours happen to be vintage.
Yeah, they're really old.
But I'll make sure to link some brand new ones that have the vintage aesthetic if you wanna get your own.
And you want this to be somewhere warm, but not like baking warm, just like, room temperature warm, basically. And let this go for about half an hour while your oven preheats. All right, so it's been sitting for about half an hour. Our oven is fully preheated and it doesn't look like it did a whole lot, but it did. It's actually significantly larger than it was. In this direction though, not in this direction. That happens in the oven, which is where it's going next. Some people like to make cuts and that kind of thing. I find for this bread, that's not really necessary and not really helpful. I want this to hold its structure and puff up. It should get nice and round. Let's hope. We'll find out in about 25 minutes at 450 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, after 25 minutes, this is what our bread looks like. And I'm just gonna get it off of this and onto a cooling rack without burning myself. It's very hot. And now I'm gonna show you a secret. Little trick. It's okay, you can laugh. It's all right. And that trick is a silicone brush. Because you see all that extra flour that I put on there? I don't really want to eat that. So I just brush it off. I'm keeping a glove on because I just have a feeling I'm gonna knock it in the sink or something. Ideally, you do not want to cut into this until it cools off, which could take half an hour or so. But we're gonna give it as long as I possibly can. And then we're gonna cut into it, so we'll see you soon. Okay, it's cooled. I can put my hand on it. It's still quite warm, but that's a good thing. Realistically though, you shouldn't be eating bread until it's come to room temperature because there's a lot involved, but things have to settle inside.
But when you have a loaf this gorgeous just sitting there and you're just waiting and waiting, you're smelling that fresh baked
I would just like
bread.
to point something out. There's only about 300 grams in this whole loaf. So that's how light this is.
It looks like super dense, but it is like super light.
Okay, but there's only one way to really know for sure. I'm gonna cut into it. All right, so I'm just gonna cut this right through the middle. Pretty sure we're gonna eat most of this tonight for dinner. There are gonna be 4 of us. And let's see what it looks like inside. Oh, yeah.
Look at that.
That is beautiful.
Oh, it's so pretty.
All right, I just wanna cut another little piece off and that's what we are going to taste test. You can see how soft it is.
See how it's crushing?
Yeah, makes it really hard to cut. But
It is so delightful. It just melts in your mouth.
just gonna jam it back together so it looks like a whole loaf again. It's all about the effect. But yeah, look at this texture. Oh.
It smells so good.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite things.
Mouth is like watering already.
Here we go. Now the important thing to remember is there's no added fat, there's no added sugars, there's no added anything. Just flour, water, salt, and yeast, and that's it. And you can make a great bread. One huge, ginormous tip. If this is the only thing you get from this video, do not ever put bread in the refrigerator.
No, you want to store this in your belly, preferably.
Yeah.
Or in the freezer. And I know you're probably like, what?
Yep.
The first time we did that, we put it in the freezer and then we took it out and let it thaw naturally on the counter the next day. It tasted like it was just freshly baked. I'm not kidding you.
This will thaw from frozen in maybe half an hour sitting on the counter. So what I do is I just throw it in a resealable plastic bag, throw it in the freezer, and then take it out, let it completely thaw, and then cut pieces off. You can reheat it if you want to, whatever you need to do. Unbelievable. It just, yeah. We do this, a couple times a week now at least.
My brother does it. He watches Brian's videos and he's like, I love making bread now because of you, so thank you. Hopefully you will love baking bread as well.
As always, guys, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on
The Bistro.